Hello, everyone. Welcome to the final episode of 2022. My name is Liz, and I'm with my co-hosts, Mary and poor Sam, who can barely talk. Say hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Um, Man, Sam, you're being a really good sport, and I'm sure the audience will understand if you don't talk very much and kind of disappear because you just feel like your voice is going to die out on you any second.
Yeah.
Yeah, because your
Yeah,
health.
I'll try my best to chirp in here and there, but probably won't hear much from me because, I as usual, like clockwork, I started getting symptoms of a sinus infection, and it has since turned into this, which is, I'm guessing, like laryngitis of some kind. So trying not to talk too much.
Yep. I mean, we always will often say that we try to keep these episodes short, but do we? Do we?
No, we never do. We all talk too damn much. That's our problem.
Yeah, but of course that's the reason why presumably you guys are still listening to us. So so for the final episode of 2022, how did that happen? I don't know. It just did. But anywho.
Yeah. Why?
Yeah,
This is ridiculous that we are already at the end of 2022.
I know. It really went by pretty fast, but
Yes.
time moves onward and forward.
You think you know what we're going to talk about. And welcome back to Three Fates Decide.
It just sounds more dramatic that way.
All right. So this week we are going to be talking about.
But just when you least expect it, we changed the game. One Will Smith slapped Chris Rock.
I mean, we always celebrated Easter.
Harry Potter the Half-Blood Prince.
So we're going to do another free talk, freestyle thing, no planned discussion. At the end of the day, only one thing matters. We decide.
We're going to hit the main highlights.
That is the thing, like what we were saying back in that episode.
Quick recap. Three Fates Decide podcast.
Since this is our last episode for the year, we decided that we're going to kind of go over 2022 on the entertainment side of things. We're going to revisit briefly some of the stuff we had talked about throughout the year, and also talk a little bit about any updates that may have happened subsequent to when we originally talked about them in an earlier episode. I guess like one thing that I'll mention, because we recently had an update on this, was the Johnny versus Amber round 2.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. For any of you listeners that, well, presumably some of you guys are aware of this, but in case you missed it, earlier this month, Amber had tried to file an appeal regarding the court case that she lost, and more or less, and she owes Johnny quite a bit of money. I mean, technically he does have to pay her some money, but it's nowhere near the amount that she owes him. So,
well, technically, he doesn't necessarily owe that to her. Doesn't all he have to do, because they're taking it out of what she owes him?
I don't know. I don't remember.
I think so. I think that's how that would work.
I think
Okay.
that's how that ends up working, because she owes him X amount of money, but he owes her what, like $2 million? So I think they were going to take the $2 million out of what she owes him.
Okay, so then it's like basically she owes him a lot.
Yeah. I mean, I could be wrong. And I mean, if somebody is more
Yeah.
familiar with that listens to us, please give us, drop us a line, drop us an email and let us know if we are wrong about that.
I mean, it would make sense because she owes him like $10 million.
Yeah,
and he owes her $2 million, so
Yeah.
or $10.5 million, and he owes her $2 million. So it would make sense that they would just take off the $2 million and she would owe him $8.5 million, because why exchange money for him to just give $2 million? Like, or,
right.
all that. So I do believe, technically she owes him 10.5 million, but because he owes 2 million, it would really be 8.5 million.
Yeah, something like that. I mean, like I said, but if somebody knows that's more familiar with like court proceedings and how money like that is exchanged, and when both plaintiffs owe each other, when both parties owe each other, how that works. If you know that, and we're saying it, and we're wrong in our, I guess you would say, assumptions, please let us know. Please correct us, because we want to know this. We want to know these things, so we can give the most correct information that we can.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, she could try to fight it, but, is it really going to work? Is
At
it?
this point, Amber, just give it up.
Well,
give up.
so the whole thing is like she got a new team of attorneys. I think Rottenborn's still there, but everyone else is gone. So she has a new round of attorneys, and they are trying to get a whole new trial, not just appeal the ruling. They want a whole new trial because she feels like she was tried unfairly. And like, here's the whole thing: is like, it was a jury trial. That was a jury of your peers, and right off the bat, her and her team started making like the jury sound terrible. That like, and tried to like, say that they obviously were like, Johnny fans or whatever, or they went home and they were looking at social media and saw that Amber was getting bashed without any sort of proof that these people actually did that, and didn't just take into account, granted, the millions of people that also watched the trial, me included, that saw her quote unquote evidence that was the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, you're sitting there saying this man broke your nose, but the next day you were on the James Corden show and your nose wasn't swollen. Like, you had no bruise, like you had nothing. And yeah, okay, fine, makeup does something, but when you're under those bright lights, makeup doesn't do anything. So don't sit there and, so whatever. So she's trying to say that the trial's unfair. However, most of the time in an appellate court and that, deals with appeals, it's not going to most likely be overturned in her favor. And then what will happen is they'll go to like the county Supreme Court, which will then drag on for another couple years. So, but again, I don't know how she has all this money to be paying for these attorneys and stuff, especially since her insurance companies, the ones that she wants to be paying for her attorney's fees and all that stuff, are also suing her as a result because she was found liable. So I don't even understand. And then, she runs away and starts living in Spain thinking that, if I run away from the US, then I'm free. It doesn't work like that.
She's not the brightest person on the planet, honestly, at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So we'll see what happens with that, but I really don't see it going in her favor. And Johnny also appealed the $2 million, and I don't think it'll get overturned, even though I think his should, because technically he didn't say anything.
Yeah.
It was his attorney that did it. So like, why he should be held liable for his attorney's actions when he wasn't the one that ordered the attorney to do it. I don't think he should be held. But I don't know if even that would get overturned, because it's more of like how the court proceedings went, not, the evidence and stuff like that.
right. And hey, you know what? If for some inexplicable reason there's actually a round 3, we'll be talking about in 2023. So
Yes, we will.
Yeah. So don't worry, folks. You will hear about the drama if it happens.
Always and forever.
Yeah. So Sam was very helpful with giving us a link to an interesting list of the 20 biggest pop culture moments of 2022. So we're going to kind of use this as like a basis for how we'll conduct this episode. And actually, funny enough, what we were just talking about, it is number 10 out of the 20 on the list. So we'll kind of skip that when we get there. But hey, for all you new listeners, actually, if you are kind of interested in the conversation we had about the trial that we were just talking about, you can check it out. It's our episode 51. Just as a warning, it's a pretty long episode. It's like probably our longest episode. I think it was like way over an hour, if I remember correctly.
I think it was.
Yeah. So, if you guys are actually interested in hearing about it, it's episode 51, and it's, it's quite a lengthy episode. So you're going to want to find some time to like really properly listen to it. Okay. So some of the things on this list we actually did do episodes on, or we mentioned them in some past episodes. So if we did, then I will mention which episode we talked about them earlier this year, or maybe even last year, possibly, but not really. It's mostly this year's episodes. So I will definitely make a reference to them. So first item on the list, the Don't Worry, Darling drama, which we didn't really talk about on our show, but it was a thing that at least Sam and I were somewhat, I wouldn't say we were like following it per se, but we were pretty aware of it, because it's like, how do you not know about the drama with Harry and Olivia and then Florence and all that?
Yeah.
Poor
Yeah.
Florence got like thrown into that mess for no reason.
Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, there were some receipts about what was really going on. I mean, I never really, I personally didn't have an opinion one way or another about Olivia Wilde. Like I knew who she is, but I didn't like have any real opinion on her until this came up in the last couple of years. And I'm like, I am so sick and tired of hearing about her. And, if she ends up back with Jason, after all this, I will just start laughing hysterically. Just laughing at it.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, this whole shit has just been that I mean, I know we made fun of personally that some other shit shows going on, but that was a real shit show too.
Yes. I mean, again, to any of you newer listeners, we didn't explicitly talk about like too many specific
PR
PR
relationships, but
we did talk about them. Actually, we talked about them last year in general.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to like look up exactly which episode it was, but it was like one of our really early ones. Episode 11, PR in Hollywood, where we do mention, if I recall correctly, we do mention a bit about PR relationships, because one of the most classic PR stunts in Hollywood is the concept of the on-set romance. And the whole thing with Harry and Olivia, most people that are familiar with how, PR in Hollywood works, they already suspected that their relationship was a convenient PR stunt to help promote this movie, because it just so happens that Harry is one of the main characters in this movie, and guess what? Olivia is also the director of the movie. Shocking.
Yeah, I'm so shocked over that one.
Yes. And of course, oh so conveniently, Olivia's longtime relationship with Jason happened to end just around the same time that they were working on this movie. Mm-hmm. And then a few months later, Jason wins a Golden Globe for his show. And it's like, lots of drama, getting lots of attention, reminding people that, oh, by the way, Jason has this show that's nominated for an award. So, I mean, it's like, come on. This is just silly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's ridiculous.
And then on top of that, it turns out there's a lot of on-set drama happening, which which really got spilled over when this movie finally premiered at I think it was at Cannes Film Festival, or was it Venice?
I'm not sure.
My mind suddenly blanked. I forget. It was either Cannes or
I think it was Venice.
right. I think it was Venice. So then around the time just before, like I think by a few weeks before they did the red carpet premiere at the Venice Film Festival, they're starting to do the promo for the movie, and then all this drama came out, like on-set drama that I think there were some blinds to, certain gossip websites like, Crazy Days and Nights that implied some stuff was going on. Not that I really paid that much attention to it, but yeah, that kind of blew up during the promotion for this movie. It's like, I just don't know how much of it is organically, like, reveal the truth, reveal the receipts, and how much of it is to create drama to advertise the movie. I mean, for all we know, it could be like they were trying to spin the drama that was coming out to promote the movie. I mean, it's just crazy timing. And, and also the fact that Florence really didn't do a lot to promote the movie. Like, she did the bare minimum. She showed up at Venice. She did the red carpet thing, but she didn't attend any of the screenings and, the press conferences for the movie, which is kind of a shame because she is one of the main characters. I mean, she's, one of the stars of the movie. So you would think that one of the stars of the movie would help promote the movie, and yet she was not really there. And officially, she wasn't participating much because she was working on another project, but that's convenient. And I kind of recalled around that time she was supposed to be preparing for her appearance in Dune Part 2. But it's kind of crazy because Timothy Chalamet, who is, of course, one of the stars of Dune, was at Venice, and he did the full promotional work for the movie he was promoting. So it's like, what's going on here? What is going on here?
Yeah.
And of course, conveniently enough, after the movie finally gets released to so critical reviews and so audience reaction, oh so conveniently, Harry and Olivia broke up.
No, really?
Yeah.
Sorry. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm like,
yeah. That was convenient. Yep. I'm gonna skip slightly because since we just happened to be mentioning Harry Styles, actually number 3 on the list is all Harry Styles all the time. 2022 was definitely the year of Harry Styles, as of the release of his album Harry's House. His sold out Love on Tour and multiple starring roles in films wasn't enough. His whirlwind romance with Olivia Wilde kept the rumor mill running all year long. Yes, it did.
yeah.
I mean, like, I'm not really a Harry Styles fan. Like, I mean, I don't hate the guy, but, I don't particularly love him or anything. But I will admit, I thought it was kind of cool that he did, like, a mini residency at Madison Square Garden earlier this year. as part of the tour that I just mentioned. So that was cool. I mean, it made a lot of fans really happy. So I will give him a lot of credit for that. I will.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although funny enough, just or like a few weeks ago, I think it was like on Just Jared's Instagram, they mentioned that there's a rumor that Harry may be seeing one of those Kardashians again. Oh, I forget who was it. Was it Kendall? I
Don't
suddenly
look
can't
at me. I
remember.
have no clue.
I forget, like supposedly like
I think
they
it was Kendall. I think it was Kendall.
yeah. I mean, listen, this rumor that they may or may not be, seeing each other is pretty convenient timing that, this happened not too long after, they broke up, uh, Harry and Olivia. I mean, I guess it would be a convenient way to, kind of say, well, I'm not like pining over Olivia, I'm moving on. And of course, I mean, Sam and I kind of, and and a few other people on Discord, we kind of speculated that maybe it's kind of a kill two birds with one stone because a thing not mentioned on this list that Sam shared with me and Mary is that like recently there's been a lot of controversy about Balenciaga involving other members of the Kardashian family, amongst other celebrities that have been, spokespeople for this brand. I mean, I there's just no words for this. I mean, Balenciaga, like, okay, I get it. You want to do some really edgy advertising to get people's attention and to give yourself the image of being like in the forefront, of fashion and culture and stuff like that. But like some of the advertising campaigns are pretty sketchy. Like, some of the stuff they hid in the images. I mean, I'm like, I had to agree with like some of our discussion buddies is that how anybody okayed any of this in their marketing department, I have no idea. I don't get it. I mean, stuff involving kids and child abuse. I mean, that's just gross. Totally gross.
Right? I mean, it's all gross, actually.
Oh, yeah,
It's all
absolutely.
gross.
I mean, I'll never understand it. It's kind of funny. Actually, I'm scrolling through this list, like quite a few, like there's a few of these things on this list that are somewhat connected to the Kardashians. Like, let me see. What was another one? Oh, another former ex and the Kardashian family is, of course, Pete Davidson. I mean, Pete Davidson is like involved in so much drama this year. I mean, he was with Kim, and then there was a feud with Kanye, and then
Ugh.
now he's apparently with Emily Ratajkowski, or however you pronounce her last name. I apologize. I mean, it's like, dude, it's like you almost forget this guy is a comedian at this point because he's more known for like dating ridiculously famous
He's the
women.
PR boyfriend.
Yeah. He is honestly turning into the PR boyfriend. I mean, seriously.
And I don't see why. I'm sorry, but the man, he might be, I don't even think he's that funny, but he's not attractive. Like, what the hell?
I'm just confused.
But I'm just saying, like, Kanye started going off the deep end during his and Kim's relationship. So I blame Pete Davidson for Kanye's like meltdown.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
It's all on you, Peter.
Yep. Speaking of Kanye, another messy thing that happened is, of course, Kanye just straight up lost his mind over this year. I mean,
Yeah.
I think the man is mentally unstable, and it's like when he comes off his and listen, I'm saying I don't know, obviously, like no one knows, but like he goes through these moments where it's like he's fine, and then all of a sudden he acts out like a crazy person. And it's been like this for years. It's just up and down, up and down, up and down. I don't know if he's bipolar or what, but it's like, I don't want to say like when he comes off his meds, all of a sudden he kind of goes crazy, but it kind of seems like that. It's like all of a sudden he just like loses it and starts like rambling off all this stuff. But it's like this year has just been like horrible, absolutely horrible. And you just when you think it can't get worse, he's like, hold my beer, and like says something else.
Oh yeah, I mean, like the newest, bit of drama is like him being pretty openly anti-Semitic at this point. I mean, it's
Yeah.
like, I mean, really got my,
Yeah, he said he liked Hitler. He likes Hitler. He gets why people hate the Jews. He literally had dinner with Trump and Nick Fuentes, who is a known white supremacist and a radical Catholic, whatever. I don't even know. So, like literally. And now he's going to try and run for president in 2024. Like, what in the hell is going on?
yeah.
Like, what is going on?
The world has gone crazy. That's all I can say. The world has gone crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just can't imagine what the hell's going to happen in 2023 with this guy. I mean, I really don't.
It's
I
kind of
like-
scary to think about how much worse it could be, but yeah, he's definitely lost, and it's just sad. It really is. It's just sad to see someone just completely throw everything away. He's lost major sponsorships as a result of that. He's lost a lot of fans. Like he's literally throwing his entire career that he built down the toilet. And for what? Like, for what? Because he's
he's an
throwing a
idiot.
temper tantrum because his wife left him?
Uh-huh.
At this point, and I'm not a Kim fan, thank God she left him because she was probably in danger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of his ex, Kim, aside from being called out for her Balenciaga, spokesperson work, she also stirred some controversy earlier this year at the Met Gala when she wore one of Marilyn Monroe's dresses.
Ugh, I was so angry.
I mean, there's really no reason for you to actually wear it. I mean, how difficult would it have actually been to find somebody to like make a copy? It's like if you wanted to show up, as like Marilyn, it's not that difficult to find somebody who could recreate it. And not to mention, she apparently went through a really crazy diet to make sure she fit in the dress. So it's like, well, apparently you're too big to, wear Marilyn's dresses. And Marilyn was not exactly, a skinny twig. I mean, not that she was overweight or anything, but, she's a curvy
She was
woman.
curvy.
She was very curvy. I mean, she was probably I know everybody said she was like a size 14, but she really wasn't. I think she was like a size 8 to 10 back then, but that was extremely curvy for back then. But she did not have the ass that Kim Kardashian has. I don't know how the hell Kim Kardashian actually fit into that damn dress.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's because again, like you said, Marilyn wasn't a stick. She had curves. She was a normal, average sized woman, and Kim has a massive butt
Derriere.
and like thrives on that, and then she thinks that she could wear that dress. Like it's ridiculous.
Yeah. And like I said, apparently she crash dieted or something to make sure she could fit in it. I mean, it's like, again, lady, you have money. How difficult is it for you to find somebody who can like just make, a replica or something so you could wear it and not go completely crazy dieting like this?
Right?
Because, it's, okay, regardless of whether you like Kim or not, or any of the Kardashians for that matter, but whether or not you like her or not, it's not healthy doing that, even if it is for temporary. It's just not, you know? So it's like, why are you doing this? Or maybe she just doesn't care. I mean, I don't know. I mean, not to mention, like, listen, she's not like old or anything, but girl, you are not like some, college student, with super, you know, metabolism where like you could very easily bounce back from, a short-term crazy diet, you know. So it's like I don't know what you're doing with your own body, really. It's like, are you even taking care of it really properly? I mean, I don't know. But anyway, we're not
Right.
going to we won't drag that out.
No.
No. Okay, so here's another crazy thing that happened that we actually did kind of talk briefly about. Will Smith's Oscar meltdown.
Ugh.
Yeah. Yeah. That happened.
Yeah. and as you can see, there's my answer to that. Ugh.
Yeah. I mean, after like all the craziness that's happened this year, you actually almost forgot about it to a certain degree, but it did happen this year, not last year.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, there's a part of me that still can't believe that actually happened, and that it wasn't like a skit or something. That's just the thing. I'm like,
Yeah, a lot of people thought it was.
yeah, because unfortunately in other, at other award shows, like they've done like weird, stunts for, uh, eyeballs and get people buzzing the next day. But nope, it really happened.
Oh, I know. It's crazy.
Yeah. In case you new listeners are curious, like we talked about this in episode 47, which was our Oscars controversies. Obviously at the time, this was like the newest controversy that happened at the Academy Awards, but we also talk about other examples of controversial events that happen on the actual show, or some behind the scenes drama related to the Oscars that happened. So check that out if you're curious about it.
Definitely.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of it, it's like, again, we did mention it in that particular episode, but you could argue that what Chris Rock said was not appropriate, but it's like, come on, Will's reaction was equally not appropriate. I mean, it's like, if you really have beef with the guy, you have plenty of time after the show, even backstage, away from the cameras, where you could have confronted him about this. But you had to be on stage in front of not only the entire audience in the theater, but also the millions of people watching from home doing that. I mean, really, you end up not only humiliating yourself at the end of it, but also you are being a complete distraction for everybody else that won that night. And, we're not talking about the fact that Will Smith won an Oscar, this year. We're talking
Right.
about the fact that he slapped Chris Rock on live, on stage,
Yes.
on live TV. So
Yeah.
great going there, Will. Great going. Another thing that happened was Leah Michelle taking over the lead role in Funny Girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The update with that is that there's some mixed reviews. Since Leah's joined the cast, ticket sales have gone off the charts. You know, all these different celebrities have gone to see the show. She's getting rave reviews and all that stuff. Listen, Leah is talented. You can't deny it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Um, but I never saw Beanie in the role, but there's a lot of people that thought Beanie did well. I just think that they just did Beanie Feldstein really, really dirty. And the latest thing that ticks me off even more is that now that Leah's there, they're now doing an original cast recording. It's not the original cast because Beanie Feldstein and Jane Lynch are not a part of it. They were a part of the original cast
Right.
of this production. And
Mm-hmm.
they now are doing it with Leah, and I don't know who took, I can't remember off the top of my head who took over for Jane Lynch, but like that's messed up. And like Leah's been posting about it over and over and over, announcing it all over the place. Oh, the original Broadway cast recording. It's not the original Broadway cast, Leah. Like you weren't the original. And the reason why you most likely weren't the original is because you were called out for being a racist. And
Yeah.
and Funny Girl didn't want to put you on because they know people weren't going to come because people hate you. And people
Right.
still hate you, Leah. You're talented, but I refuse to go see Funny Girl because I don't want to, I'm not giving her my money.
Right. And not to mention she's a bully.
Oh yeah, huge bully.
Yeah, I mean, anybody who's familiar with, all the drama involved with Glee, you know very well that like quite a few people have spoken out, subsequent to the show, and for some actors like who were only on the show for a very short amount of time, they came out after their time on the show to say that yeah, she was a diva and she totally bullied me. So,
Like the fact that there's not one member of that cast that likes her and has gone to see her. I mean, I'm not talking about Darren Criss. Darren Criss, I think, is the only one. But like Chris Colfer was on a podcast and they asked him if he was going to go. And he was like, I'd rather torture myself at home. Like her castmates don't like her. None of them have gone to see her. And apparently, Rachel Berry is Leah Michelle.
well, I mean, apparently that explains how she was able to play that role really well. It's like, it wasn't really acting. She just changed what she wore and looked like on the show and just was herself. So, I don't remember, like, did you mention well, obviously you didn't deep dive into it. But I think you may have mentioned a little bit about Funny Girl in your one of your solos.
My very first solo episode. My second one
59.
hasn't come out yet, right?
No, oh yeah, sorry. Your second solo is number 74.
Okay. So no one's heard it yet. But or you guys will hear it now by the time this comes. That's right. All right. So anyway, my very first Broadway episode, I actually talk a lot about Funny Girl. I don't go too deep. It's more of just like my personal feelings on the subject because it just didn't really seem fair. I really just feel like Beanie was treated so horribly in order to get her off. I think they wanted Leah Michelle from the very, very beginning. And again, with all the, drama surrounding Leah during the pandemic and her being called out and being called racist, they couldn't take that chance. So they hired a nobody like Beanie, even though her brother's famous. But, and she just was treated like crap from the moment the show started. I mean, no one even gave her a chance because that's not who they wanted. And they treated her like crap until she finally couldn't take it anymore. She wound up leaving early and she hasn't really been heard of since. And it's very, very sad.
Yeah.
I feel really bad for her.
Yeah. Although
But
like
yes, my first episode, I talk about it.
Yeah, so it's number 59. One small update though was that after Beanie left, there was an announcement. I had to like search my emails because I did remember this, but I didn't remember the exact details. But Beanie, I think was cast in a Ethan Cohen movie that he's working on. So we may be seeing her on the movie screen pretty soon. So that's nice.
I hope so. Justice for Beanie. She deserves better.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, listen, if you want to argue that maybe she's not the best for the role, that's one thing, but that's still not, that it's still not fair, to be treated like that, really. It's kind of disrespectful, honestly.
100%. 100%.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so another thing that happened on this list mentions is Leslie Jordan's tragic death. Legendary comedian actor Leslie Jordan died in a tragic car accident on October 24th. I'm not to be honest, like I didn't really watch much of Will and Grace, so I never actually watch any of his comedic work, so I don't know what really to say other than like it is always tragic to hear, when somebody dies, like that. I mean, it's one thing if you're like, 100 or something and you die in your sleep or whatever, because, there's no regrets. You lived your life, right? But, to be in a car accident and then this happens, that's always sad.
Yeah, no, it was really sad. Like apparently he had a medical emergency and that's what caused the accident. So I
Yeah.
don't know if it was, a heart attack or something like that. But I was actually watching The Masked Singer not too long ago, and he was a guest judge on The Masked Singer this season. Not long before he died. But no, I remember, like, again, I didn't really watch a lot of Will and Grace, but like I remember seeing him in different roles here and there, and it is just very, very sad to see someone who passes before their time. And he was just always just seemed like such a funny, cute guy. So it was very sad, very, very sad.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah, I mean, I did see like obviously when it came out that like what happened to him. They obviously like those entertainment shows. They include clips of like different interviews he did, and I did get that impression about like how he's just he really is honestly pretty funny guy, and not just when he's like on stage as it were. So that does make it really sad, especially for the people who really knew him. That's always the tragedy, not just when somebody dies, but then the people that got left behind. It's obviously a real tragedy for them. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, the big elephant in the room. Elon Musk bought Twitter. And chaos reigns.
Yeah. Mm-mm-mm. Like the amount of hate speech that's now on Twitter. Like Twitter was a toxic cesspool to begin with. It's gotten worse. I didn't think that was possible.
Yeah.
Right.
Like it's
But-
just gotten so much because it's all about the quote unquote free speech, and he's not gonna just suspend someone for free speech. Yet he just suspended Kanye.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
how's
I'm
that
like-
working for you, Elon? How's that working?
I mean, it's like, what are you even doing at this point? I just don't even know anymore. Like, what are you trying to achieve here? I mean,
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, I mean, it's like he's implementing all these things, and it's like, did you actually have a contingency plan when you said you were going to get rid of certain things? I mean, Apparently not. I
No,
mean,
everything, and he's had so many advertisers walk out. Like, he's losing money, like so much money on a daily basis. I really don't think Twitter's gonna survive this.
yeah.
Which, you know what?
Is
Serves
that a
them
bad
right.
thing?
No, it's not a bad thing at all. It serves them right. And you know what? Not only is Twitter suffering, Tesla is now suffering. He's lost so much money in Tesla because people have, you know, basically are walking away from him because of all the crap that he's allowing. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind well, okay, that part is honestly really is a shame because, Tesla by itself as a company, if you ignore Elon, they are actually trying to do some really interesting things in terms of like, technology and especially like, cars and whatnot. So it is honestly a shame for all those people that work in that company that really are working hard. They are the ones that, are doing all the work to make the company what it is. I mean, he's the guy with the money who owns it, and of course, obviously, money is important in a company to, make it run and everything. But, it's your employees who really make the thing run, whether it's you're producing cars or whether you are running a social media platform. So it's like the way all these people got treated, um it's like it's a real shame. That is the biggest shame out of all this. I mean, it's messed up, all the hate speech that's being allowed, all the douchebaggery that's allowed on Twitter, since he took over. But at the end of the day, it's like, it it's also the people working there that have to deal with this. So I feel bad for them, honestly. I also just hope that like the people that did get fired, they are able to find like better jobs after this because, after what happened to them, because, that's not fair, like I said, how they were treated. Yeah. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but like I do have a Twitter account, but I don't really use it much per se. I mean, I mostly got it to follow people like celebrities and whatnot. Um, I think the only
Same.
thing, yeah. I mean, the only thing I posted is like I may respond to, a couple of people I know, that are on Twitter. And also like I use this site called Goodreads. It's like one of those like websites where you can like track, books you read and try to find like books to read, later and whatnot. And they do have this feature that lets you tweet any reviews you post or any comments you post about, oh, I read this book and this is what I thought, blah, blah, blah. Right.
Mhm.
So that's kind of the only thing that really updates my actual Twitter account. Like the tweets on there is that.
I mean, honestly, I don't even have that. I literally, I have it. I've logged into it one damn time, and that is it.
Yeah. I mean, if I wasn't like reading stuff from like, celebrities or whatever, interesting people that I follow on there, I would, I wouldn't have even bothered keeping Twitter. I would have been like using it for, the first few days that I had it. And then as soon as I got bored with it, I would have deleted it. Because,
Yeah, I just
yeah. But we will see. Will Twitter continue in 2023? We don't know. But we'll find out soon enough. Okay, so next thing on the list that we didn't already talk about, Inventing Anna Mania. Anna Delvey, the New York City wannabe socialite and scammer made infamous in Shonda Rhimes' Netflix miniseries Inventing Anna, had a big year. The miniseries was one of Netflix's most popular offerings of the year. Delvey continues to attract attention following her release from prison after being convicted on 8 charges of theft and fraud.
Yeah, I watched the show. It's crazy. It's just absolutely crazy. If you haven't watched it, I do recommend it. I don't know if like obviously 100% is truthful, but the basic premise is there. And yeah, I just know just from like Dumoy, like she gets spotted almost every single week walking around New York with her uh you know tracker on her ankle because she's on house arrest. I'm pretty sure she's going to be deported though because she's
Yeah.
German. So
Yeah.
but I think she's waiting for another trial or something, but I do think she's eventually going to be deported.
Yeah. I mean, like, I just think it was crazy that she got away with all this for as long as she did. But you know what? The moment you start screwing around with banks, you know, you're going to get found out pretty quickly because banks do not like banks, you get a loan from bank, they want their money back, one way or another at some point, even if it's like, a 30-year mortgage on a house, it is still them basically wanting their money back and you are going to have to pay for it, So I don't know what she was thinking that she could get away with that. I mean, I never understand people like this, like how they think they can get away with scamming people forever, or maybe they just don't care, or they're just too deep into it. I mean, I think that's like the narrative that they did in the show, right? Like that she was just doing it, and then she got way in over her head about how far she was taking this, and then it also turned into a sort of Ponzi scheme where like she borrowed money or whatever from one person, but then they're starting to pressure her to get the money back. So then she ends up getting it from somebody else just to, which only just delays the inevitable. So I don't know. Eventually I'll probably watch it. I'm really bad about watching things. It's just too much.
Yeah, there's so much stuff to watch now.
Yeah. Okay, so another thing that happened, which I don't know anything about because I don't use TikTok, is the jiggle jiggle that went viral on TikTok. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, apparently it's some song, My Money Don't Jiggle Jiggle, became a thing on TikTok.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. Again, I don't use TikTok, so I
do,
know
but
nothing.
I don't even pay much attention to it, honestly. I watch certain people on TikTok, and that's about it.
Right.
Anything Dylan Hollis related is funny as hell to me. I love watching that man cook.
Hee.
No, he's hilarious. I mean, it's hilarious. I can no longer say I can no longer say cinnamon correctly. It's synonym.
Okay, so next thing on the list, the nostalgia of Stranger Things. 80s nostalgia was all the rage in 2022, thanks in no small part to Netflix's Stranger Things. I've been meaning to watch this show. I mean, at first, like, I wasn't going to because, like, I heard it was, like, too horror and spooky, and that's not really what I'm into. But the clips I've seen of the show, though, actually does look pretty good. So I don't know. That's just another show to add to my to-watch list.
Yeah, no, it's funny. I had sort of lost interest after the third season. I just didn't think it was as good. And this season really brought me back. And obviously there's only one more season, so I'll finish it out. But no, the nostalgia was definitely there. A song from the 80s hit number one.
Well, a couple of them did.
Yeah, like oh yeah, like it's hilarious. And like what's funny is like you have these Gen Zers who you know got ticked off because the original band played their song, and they're like, oh, that's not your I don't know, like they were playing it at a concert or whatever, and they're like, why are these old guys playing this song from Stranger Things? It's like it's their song. Like that was an actual band back in the 80s. Like, come on.
Oh,
I know.
Lord.
I mean, listen, there are some like really, amazing kids in Gen Z that are really honestly trying to do some great things, and I hope they can continue doing the great things. But there are just some of them that are like, guess what? There was, life and culture and pop culture before you were born, okay? We weren't all sitting around a campfire in a cave staring at each other, you know? I mean, come on. We weren't all just drawing cave paintings, okay? We listened to stuff, all right? uh it's like, come on, reality check here. Okay, so another thing on the list. Takeoff shot in Houston. On November 1st, rapper Kurznik Ball, better known as Takeoff, was killed in a shooting after a dice game in Houston. Okay, I'm not really a, rap listener. I'm not a hip hop listener, so I mean, I think I heard about this, but like I didn't pay too much attention to it just because it's like, well, I don't know him. I don't, you know, I'm not familiar with his music, so it didn't really impact me per se, but it's like, I mean, more senseless violence, especially with guns. It's like, I mean, we're not going to get into that, topic, but it's like, come on. How is this sort of thing still going on? And of course, it just had to be like a cliche thing. A rapper gets killed like this. I mean, really.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, when is this going to end? Apparently not anytime soon. So
Never. At this rate, never.
yeah. Speaking of music, Beyonce released Renaissance. I've only heard a little bit of the album. I haven't actually listened to it. Like, I mean, did either of you listen to any of it?
No, I'm not a big Beyonce fan, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I mean, I've only listened to like, her really big hit songs, from her earlier albums, but I haven't really listened too much of her newer stuff because I'm not a member of the Beehive, so
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I've heard like there's like some, like, I mean, I know like it did get some good reviews, but I've also heard like some people giving it mixed reviews. I mean, especially like some of the first songs that came out off of it as, the singles that, to help promote it. So, okay, so next thing is of course the death of Queen Elizabeth.
That was very sad.
Yeah. I mean, again, we did do an episode on this. It was episode 62. I mean, so we already said mostly what we had to say in that episode, but yeah, I mean, for a lot of us, for the three of us, and I'm sure for a lot of you listeners, she was the Queen of England and the only ruler of England that we knew.
Yep.
And her son has very big shoes to fill.
Yes.
And of course,
I
it
hope
actually
he could do so.
right. And I forgot the exact date, but I do remember that they did announce that the coronation was going to be in May of 23. So they're not going to make him wait an entire year like the Queen had to after her father died, if I recall correctly. But it is, it is the passing of the torch. It is centuries of tradition being shown to us, and it's going to be interesting because I mean, again, we kind of covered this, but it really is amazing, like looking back on her life and how the world really changed, all around her, and she was the royal to help modernize the royal family. Because I mean, just the fact that her coronation was the first one to ever be televised, for millions of people to watch at home, is already like a super modern thing. And then over the years, she did keep up with technology and other changes in society. I mean, like, she does like her annual Christmas speeches on television every year in the UK, and even during the pandemic, she was like doing Zoom calls with obviously a lot of assistance from her staff and her daughter Princess Anne, but she kept up with the times. So
Yeah.
yeah, and quite a few people who follow the royal family have said that like we are just probably never going to ever see a royal like her ever again.
Mm-hmm.
So farewell. Next on the list is the death of Bob Saget.
Yes.
I still can't believe it happened this year, but it did.
It was early this year, though.
Yeah, January 9th.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's very early this year. It's hard to believe it's been almost a year. I mean, it's been almost a year since Betty White passed, for God's sakes. I mean, granted, she passed last year, but it's been almost a year. I'm like, my God.
Yeah. Yeah. That was very sad. Very, very sad.
Yeah.
Mhm. You just never know what will happen to you tomorrow, next week, a year, 20 years from now. So I guess if there's one lesson to learn out of all that is that, you should appreciate the people around you and just know that, no matter how good or bad things get, you're alive to experience it. So,
Right.
yeah. Okay, next thing on the list is Bennifer wedding. I mean, I don't want to be cynical about this, but we'll see how long this lasts. I mean, that's just the thing with the two of them.
Yeah. I mean, we're
I
like the third
still don't
iteration
think.
of Bennifer.
Yeah.
We had the original Bennifer, then we had Bennifer 2.0 with Ben Affleck and Jennifer Gardner. And now we're back to the original Bennifer, but now I consider it Bennifer 3.0.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
it's
like,
all really suspicious to me because it was like, obviously Jennifer was engaged to A-Rod and they broke up. And it wasn't long after she broke up with A-Rod that she started hooking up with Ben again. Like it literally was like weeks. Like you were an engaged woman and then you were dating your ex-boyfriend like in a matter of weeks. So like it just seems really suspicious to me, and part of me thinks that it is more for show than for actual love.
Yeah.
right.
But we will. I mean, not that we're like super following it, but we'll keep an eye out on this one. Although one thing I didn't know though was that she legally changed her name to like Jennifer Affleck, apparently. Not that like that actually, makes a difference because we still call her Jennifer Lopez, J Lo. So
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, so number 19 on the list is the Wordle craze. I've played it a few times, but like I don't know, I just never got into the habit of like regularly playing it. So it's been like a few months actually since I played it. I mean, what about you guys? Did you guys like get into it?
Yeah, I play it every day.
What is it again? I'm sorry.
So it's
Wordle.
with like the New York Times, and it's like you have you
Nope.
have to guess a 5-letter word with no hints, and you have 5 tries to try and get it.
Nope, I don't play that.
Yeah.
It's exciting when you get it in like the second or third try.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
actually happened to me a couple of times that I did it. It was really funny when that happened. I was like, "What?" But yeah, like I said, I didn't make it into a habit to play it every day, so it really has been months since I played it. There you go. And then to close things off, Adam Levine's adultery scandal. I mean, I don't particularly love Adam. I didn't particularly hate Adam. But, weirdly enough, I'm somehow not surprised that that was going on. Just because it's like, I do remember him when he was a judge on The Voice. And I did remember how I thought, like, he really is pretty smug, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm not
well, when I mean, listen, the man is again very, very talented, but it's pretty sad when people know him and forget that he's one member of Maroon 5.
Yeah.
It's like the rest of the band kind of gets like forgotten about. It's only about Adam, so I guess he just got a really big head. But obviously, his wife doesn't care because after this whole ordeal, like, like they went, they made like a statement together. They've been seen together, so she obviously doesn't care that much. I
Yeah.
mean, it is all speculation because part of the problem is this was all through like DMs, and there's actually apps that you can make fake DMs and make
Yeah.
it look real. Like even text messages, you can
Mhm.
make anything look legit, and
Yeah.
it would be hard to prove.
Yeah. I mean, like, for any of you guys who are into reading fanfics, if you've ever come across social media, alternate universe stories, especially if you happen to also be Tumblr users, clearly the writers use like those special apps that lets you fake, you know, Twitter feeds and Instagram posts and text messages, like Sam was saying, for the purposes of writing the story. I mean, like, I've read a few, Marvel fanfics that were like that on Tumblr, and I thought they were really entertaining and funny, but I was also equally impressed with the fact that, like, yeah, this tweet from, Bucky to Steve looked like an actual, Twitter, conversation or text conversation or chat room conversation,
Yeah. Yeah, so
So,
that's why, like, whenever I see any quote unquote evidence of like DMs and stuff like that, I have to speculate because it's very, very easy to create that stuff now,
Mhm.
which is a dangerous situation.
right. And also, I mean, obviously we can't say one way or another in the case with Adam, but you just never know if, like, let's say it was a real DM conversation. How do you know certain bits of the conversation wasn't being taken out of context?
Right.
And that covered the entire list, more or less.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And obviously, there's things that we didn't cover, but that's, I think, covered most of like the really important stuff that happened this year in
Yeah.
pop culture.
Yeah. And hey, if you guys felt like there was something that was not part of the list that, should have been on the list or we should have talked about, send us an email, threefacesaside@gmail.com, and, let us know. And who knows, maybe in 2023, we will talk about them because, as we've said, like, some of the things that we mentioned that were also on this list, we did actually do episodes talking about it or mentioning it. So yeah, if you guys end up having suggestions for what we should talk about in 2023, let us know. So, I guess before we close out, any last thoughts?
Happy New Year's. See you in 2023, hopefully with a voice.
Yes.
Yep. See you guys in 2023.
Yep. See you then.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Catch us next time.
And see what we're going to talk about.
Because the three fates decide.